Persuasive, Part 2.
Even if it's something tedious that you may be talking about that not everybody is interested in, but if you just inject that enthusiasm, right, and use all the things we've been talking about, projection, tone of voice, gestures, a good smile. And if they smile back, if they're chuckling, if they feel like you're having fun, then they can be having fun. And then those little glitches, those little things that may be imperfections in the presentation, generally shy away fairly rapidly. So today, since it's the last day, see if you can't inject that added erg of having a good time while you're doing it. We'll see how it goes. Last thing I need to do before we break into our groups is I had threatened to give a full-out 6-minute rebuttal to Patrick's speech last week on genetically modified foods, but I thought that kind of wouldn't be fair. He did, however, encourage you to do your own research, which I would also encourage you to do, because I would suspect if you did your own research, you might come to some perhaps different conclusions than he presented in his speech. So I was going to recommend 3 books that I have, 2 books and 1 movie that I have read and found to be tremendously enlightening, very scientifically well organized. It's on your handout there. 2 of them are by a researcher named Jeffrey Smith. One is called Seeds of Deception, and one is called Genetic Roulette. One is essentially about what the companies who promote genetically modified foods are trying to convince people, and why that is not necessarily true. Very objective, very scientific. The other one is Genetic Roulette, about the studies that have been done, mostly outside the United States, on the actual physical dangers to people eating genetically modified foods. And then the last one is a horror movie. This thing is much worse than Jaws, probably even more frightening than Friday the 13th. It's called The World According to Monsanto, which very much explains the potential dangers to whole ecosystems and environments and ecologies and economies, particularly in Argentina and India, of communities that have adopted genetically modified crops. I would not suggest that anyone under the age of 12, that would include you, watch this movie, The World According to Monsanto. It's just a little too frightening for the average child. Of course, that might not include you. But it is a fascinating documentary, which I would recommend. And all of these can be seen at this website, seedsofdeception.com. So I give that there to you just so I would be doing my moral obligation to present the opposing viewpoint to Patrick's extremely well done and persuasive speech. One of those speeches that's so persuasive it makes you angry by the end of it.
A penny saved is a penny earned, someone once said. Today, we will be investigating the true value of the penny. Whether you know it or not, an intense debate is going on, whether the penny should be eliminated or retained as a unit of currency. Many people argue that the penny is not worth making or using, while others think that the penny is historically significant and extremely important to the American people as a whole. I will be addressing a few significant areas where this debate clashes, and also some significant points supporting each side. Because of the penny's long, rich history, many Americans believe that it is their responsibility to protect this type of currency. The cent, first minted in 1787, was the first currency of any type authorized by the United States. Its design was first suggested by Benjamin Franklin. Paul Revere supplied the copper for making the pennies around 1790, and Abraham Lincoln's image has graced the coin since 1909, the centennial of his birth. Partly because of this, many Americans still want to keep the penny as legal tender. In February 2006, the Coinstar National Currency Poll found that 66% of those interviewed wanted to retain the penny as part of their national coinage. Eliminating the penny would not only go against the wishes of the majority of the American people, but it would also upset the land of Lincoln, Illinois, where he was born. However, why do a third of Americans not support the penny's upkeep? Don't they have a reason? Another problem facing the opponents of the penny is that many charitable organizations, such as the Salvation Army and the Ronald McDonald House, rely heavily on the collection of pennies for funds. Finally, the end of the cent would mean a decrease in profits for zinc mines because pennies are made mainly of zinc. Many proponents of the penny's elimination say that the penny is no longer useful. Greg Mankiw, an economist, writes, "The purpose of the monetary system is to facilitate exchange, but the penny no longer serves that purpose." He and many others want us to face the fact that no one really buys anything with 1, 2, or even 9 pennies. They simply receive them in change or pay that extra 2 cents tax. Would rounding an oatmeal cookie's price from, say, $2.62 to the nearest 5 cents, $2.60, really hurt? In 1990, a professor of economics thought so. He told a congressional committee that rounding cash sales up or down to the nearest 5 cents would cost consumers $600 million annually. But more recently, in July 2006, Robert Waples, an economics professor, said customers wouldn't lose from rounding current prices. This statement was based on information from over 200,000 transactions. So there's some conflicting evidence here. Now, even assuming that discontinuing the penny as a unit of currency won't hurt us, why even bother? A plan should only be enacted if the benefits outweigh the costs. On July 19th, 2006, Robert Waples, whom I mentioned earlier, estimated that the wasted time caused by pennies in transactions comes out to $300 million of productivity lost each year. Furthermore, he figured that the U.S. loses $900 million each year due to the penny's production and handling costs. This means that it costs more to make the penny than it is worth. Some estimate that the cost of keeping the penny in use is even greater than his estimates. Let me recap. In the first area, we saw that because of the penny's long history and America's emotional attachment to it, most people hardly even consider eliminating the penny. Would you like your descendants to remember you as the incurable romantics who wasted billions of dollars on a coin which had outlived its usefulness as a currency? Also, the fact that many charities rely on pennies for collecting donations surfaced. Let the nickel be the new penny. Finally, we saw how zinc mines profit from the making of pennies. I don't remember reading about any great crash of the gold mines when they got rid of gold coins. In the second area of this speech, we saw a few conflicting views about the usefulness of pennies and what eliminating them would do. Here again, the evidence supporting the penny's elimination is much more reliable. Just look at the dates. As I stated a moment ago, the main reason for discontinuing the penny as a unit of currency is that it costs much more to make than it is worth, wasting more than $1 billion each year. If you're interested in taking action, I adamantly encourage you to talk to me after the class. Come, join us advocates and the other countries who have already successfully taken action. Thank you. In today's society, Fast food is the norm. It provides quick, easy meals for on-the-go people. But is fast food really worth buying? There is something comforting about walking into a favorite restaurant. The smells of cooking burgers, frying food, as characters like Ronald McDonald and Jack stare back with happy plastic smiles. No matter what town, there's a familiarity in design, logo, and menus. Go to a Burger King in Chicago and you know it's the same one as the one in New York or in Los Angeles. It's easy to choose from favorite items, eat, and leave in 15 minutes. There's no mess to clean up, no leftovers, and no effort. Just food that tastes as expected and low prices. Fast food is everywhere. Highway rest stops, airports, in stores, and even hospital cafeterias. But what about food quality? Of course, everyone needs food to live, so does it really matter about food quality? If we eat fast food or something else, it still is food. But not only is fast food everywhere, fast food companies encourage the consumer to eat more by supplying oversized burgers, extra large servings of fries, and buckets of soda. The double gulp soda at your local 7-Eleven holds 64 ounces of soda. That's half a gallon. It contains an equivalent of 48 teaspoons of sugar. According to one nutritionist, your average fast food meal is more like 3 meals. But what's the real cost of eating all that high-fat food? Consider a basic medium meal at Burger King consisting of a Whopper with cheese, French fries, and a vanilla shake. In that one meal, scarfed down in only 10 minutes, is 87 grams of fat and 1,480 calories. You won't fare much better at McDonald's with a Big Mac, fries, and shake that contains 59 grams of fat and still 1,460 calories. Lots of numbers, right? But put it into perspective. According to the dietary advice, average amount of fat a person should eat in one day should not be over 65 grams. The caloric intake should be around 2,000 calories. With the exception of McDonald's, who slides in at 6 grams below total intake, most fast food meals exceed the dietary recommendation for the whole day, some by an astounding amount. Salad is the obvious choice. It's mostly healthy, as long as if there's chicken on it, it's not fried. There are other pitfalls that occur when they add on to the vegetable base. Salad dressing seems to be the worst offender. The creamier, the fatter. Ordering ranch-style dressings gain you anywhere from 10 to 41 grams of fat. However, weight gain is not the only danger presented in fast food. Walk into a kitchen in Burger King, and there is square boxes stacked near the fryer. Inside each of these is blocks of partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, solid white, waiting to be scooped up by a gloved hand and dumped in a 350-degree fryer. To show you how scary fast food is, I'm going to tell you a story. In 1991, software engineer was out with friends one New Year's Eve when he stopped at McDonald's on his way home. He bought 2 cheeseburgers. He ate one and put the other one in his coat pocket to have later. Then he forgot about it. A year later, while he was cleaning out his closet, he took out the coat and found the cheeseburger from New Year's Eve. It looked and smelled exactly the same. He was absolutely amazed. He told his friends and family, but nobody believed him, so he decided to start a burger museum to demonstrate to everyone that these cheeseburgers and hamburgers are literally indestructible. He started collecting burgers, one every year. He kept them on bookshelves in his living room, in the open air, and these burgers looked exactly the same. Their bun, meat, cheese, sauce, pickle, and even the lettuce. They all retained their shape and color for over a decade. Food is supposed to break down. Food is supposed to be the most biodegradable of products. How is it possible that these burgers have not broken down, decayed, or become moldy?